everyone. I want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite authors. Now, before I get into anything, I have a lot of favorite authors. So if you're reading this and you might be one of my favorite authors, just know Lola Glass is one of my favorite authors, but I have a lot more. There's more love to go around. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Lola Glass and why I have read every single one of her books without fail. I've never did not finish. I've never not wanted to finish them all in one sitting. Now, her books are light and easy to do that with. I do most of her books in about 2 to maybe 3 or 4 hours tops. However, she just knows how to make a reader feel good inside. So if you haven't experienced that, first, I highly recommend grabbing a book from Lola Glass on Kindle Unlimited and experiencing that. But let's talk a little bit about Lola and why her books are like that. So first of all, she goes through all of the tropes. She really does. We have fated mates, enemies to lovers, forced proximity. We have, just like all of the things that you want in these books. She's had it throughout her discography, we'll call it. She does actually have a list on her website that is a full list of all of her books that you can go through and check off as you've read them. Now, I take scavenger hunts pretty seriously, so I've already read every single one of those, and I do plan on checking them all off at a later date. I think for me, what makes Lola Glass's books so special is, well, yes, they always end in a happily ever after, but the characters are always so uniquely different, and it's very hard to do when you produce in such mass like Lola does. I have a new book to read every 1 or 2 months, and I wait for her little book sprout notification so I can go in, I can review her on Goodreads and Amazon and Kindle and give her points, but I also get the arc a little bit earlier. So if you have not used Booksprout before and you are a book talker or love reading books maybe a little bit earlier than everybody else, do go get on Booksprout and follow Lola and give her reviews. I just feel so cozy when I read those books. The characters, they're just so different from each other. I think ultimately she actually, is a phenomenal writer. She knows exactly what her readers and her fan base want from a book, and she produces it, but she also follows her heart. So I always read the end comment notes on Lola Glass's books. And yes, of course, she thanks people and things like that, but she tells us a little bit about what she was doing while she was writing it, what this book meant to her, if this was like one of her favorite books or if she had a hard time finishing it. And I feel like I've been along for the ride in that story, and I get to hear a little bit about her life and what's happening in it while she's reading or while she's writing the book. So it takes me into that perspective. I love shifter stories though, and that's really where I started following Lola Glass, as she has a lot, and I mean a lot, of werewolf, shifter, romance, fated mates type books. I think the way Lola Glass writes them avoids being comparative to some of the Wattpad books and things like that. Not that there are any less of books, because I used to read Wattpad all the time in college before these types of books ever got published. This is where I would read them. But I think she nailed down what a shifter means and what it means to be a shifter. And that theory kind of changes a little bit throughout her books, but she has the same main overarching theme of what it means to be a shifter, what it means to be a demon, what it means to be, and she would dragon shifter. She's got everybody. And she also has these I mean, beautiful worlds that she's built that we follow these characters in through standalones. But I will argue that it is much better to read them in order than it is to read them separately, just because I feel like you get so much out of the book when they reference other characters and other couples and things like that. Like, I remember their story and I go, oh, cozy hug. Getting to see them, like, you're following this new set of characters, but you see the old set of characters, you know, having and living their life happily ever after, having kids. It's kind of like a a prologue, but in the next book, and you kind of get to see that progression. I think Lola, in the way that she writes, is just so sweet and so upbeat and calming that after a long week of work, I want to read Lola Glass. I don't necessarily want to read Rebecca Yarros or Jennifer L. Armentrout or Sarah J. Maas, because I get anxiety from those books. They are hardcore. There are wars. There are, it's more fantasy adventure, where this is fantasy love. And it's kind of, imagine watching a rom-com, like a romantic comedy. That is Lola Glass. His books in a nutshell. They're romantic comedies with a little bit of paranormal in them, where the other writers and that I love are more adventure romantic, more like Outlander and The Witcher and Game of Thrones. I mean, yes, there's romance in there, and yes, okay, you can literally, the Romantasy series, but it feels less like a rom-com. It's not supposed to make you laugh. It's not supposed to necessarily, it's more designed to make you cry. I mean, like, last Jennifer Armentrout book I read, I cried a whole lot throughout the entire book. I have teared up on Lola's books, but that is just because I'm literally just so happy to be reading about those characters and their happily ever after. It is so special. So I will always read every single one of Lola Glass's books. Specifically, super excited to see the two that just came out recently that were Mate Hunt series books. So if you have not read Mate Hunt, the premise behind it is that the shifters imprint on sight and with human women, and human women don't know that werewolves exist. So all of a sudden they have a very large werewolf puppy following them around until the werewolf decides that it's like that she agrees or would like to be his mate, kind of thing. This was written a while ago, and getting these novellas back that are just super meet cute. It throws in some old storylines from the other characters that we fell in love with a long time ago, and having her be able to come back to this Mate Hunt series was, really special for me, especially for those of you, who don't know, and as she's writing in the back of her book, so I'm going to assume that she's telling people, but she is pregnant, so she was focused on writing these smaller novellas, these meet cute ones to get the words out. I can't imagine, being pregnant, writing a full-length novel, let alone just writing a full-length novel. So I've really enjoyed these novellas. They've kind of taken me back into time when I first found Lola Glass through the Mate Hunt series, and she's definitely expanded since then. So I'm really thrilled to be reviewing Lola. I think she's a phenomenal writer, and she deserves all the credit. So please go download her books. Go get cozy. These are the perfect holiday, winter, cozied up by the fire romance stories that you need in your life this fall and winter. So thanks, Lola. Can't wait for your next book.